Yo, 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 everybody! Generikb here, and welcome back to another episode of Generikb's BEEcademy. That's right, this is the tutorial series that teaches you everything you need to know from soup to nuts about bees, the caring and raising, and the uses of any type of bee in Feed the Beast and the extra bees in Thaumic Bees. I love my bees. My babies. So in the last episode, I taught you guys about the basics of the alveary, right, which are these big honking things right here, as well as some of the special blocks that go in it, like the mutators and the frame housings and all of that. And hopefully you guys are now at a point where you've built one or two of these, and you may have even kind of delved in a little bit and said, what happens if I mix a noble with unweary? What happens? But today we're going to put a little more rigor behind it, a little more science, and show you guys the appropriate way to find the bees that you want through breeding, right? And the very first thing we're going to talk about is how to keep track of what bees you've bred, the path it took to breed those bees, and what the further mutations are. And that's with these three things right here. The first one is an apiary's database, and the second one is an apiary's databank. Now, these two basically do the same thing. The first one is portable, so we'll right-click here. Here's how you make one of these guys. Got some gold and some tin and an emerald, a diamond, redstone, glass pane, and you need to make it in a carpenter with some water. And it's very much like a beealyzer. It's portable. You just right-click, and this will show all of the bees that you have bred. So you notice, like, it doesn't show like modest or rocky in here, because on this world we've not bred those bees, but we have bred these. It has some very interesting information. So, like, if we let's click on common. It's a good one. So this will just tell you a little bit about a bee. This will tell you the common traits of that bee as it is naturally. So without any type of serums or any type of funky stuff to it. This is by nature what is in this specific bee, all the traits of it. And so, you may say, like, well, that one's kind of crappy. But if you go, look, fertility, 3 children, that's pretty good. Or if you go down here, wintry, 4, that's really awesome. So you may want to eventually incorporate those traits into bees, and that's what we're going to talk about today. This one will tell you, let's go back up to Forest. This one will tell you what kind of products they produce, and on average, how often that happens. I believe this is done based on a bee in an apiary, not an alveary. Alveary should be quicker than that. This is really nice. This shows you the climate. So I believe the first one is the temperature, and the second one is the humidity. And then this one is very nice. A lot of people asking questions about which biomes can I do these bees in, and this one, you just mouse right over it, and it tells you all of these biomes should be okie dokie for that specific bee. Whereas, for instance, if you click on wintry, you notice it's a lot different, right? A lot of frozen stuff. Can't do a wintry bee in the desert by default. Okay, so, and then the next one is resultant mutations means what was mutated to make this bee. Now, of course, forest is a hive bee or a mundane bee, so it's just naturally made. But if you look at something like a common, it says, look at here, a forest and a meadows made a common. But look at this. There's a whole ton of other ones, look at all of them, that could make a common. Now, you notice they're grayed out, and they'll say either discovered species or undiscovered. Now, what that means is the one to the right will always be what you're looking at. So we always know that this will be a common, even though it doesn't show up. And if you see it's a discovered, it means it's one that we've already messed with before. And then this means it's one we haven't discovered yet, obviously. So you could sit there and go, if I mix a couple of other bees that I have, maybe that will also result in a common. Now, more beneficial than this is the next one, which is further mutations. And you can see here, if you did a common and a forest, that gave us a cultivated. Common and a meadows gave us a cultivated. Because we are looking at common, you'll know that these are the commons, right? Even though it says discovered species. But then you know, there's some stuff that I could still do with these commons. And you could even go down and go, oh, hey, look, there's a common and something else I've already discovered will create something that I haven't discovered yet. And that's where you can play around and try to unlock different types of species. It's really, really cool. Now, you could do that. Oh, the apiary databank. Let me talk about this one. This one is just a standard, like, you can plunk it down on the ground and it keeps it. It's no different. And it is made with the apiary's database, these glass, and an apiary's machine, which we'll talk about in a second, and a little bit of redstone. It gives you one of those. This works great. And if you want to go legit and you want to find out all the bee species on your own, these are what you would use. And it's a lot of fun. Takes a long time, but it's a lot of fun to unlock these guys. Now, if you are more interested in finding out a specific way to get a certain bee, and you don't really want to play the guessing game, then you can use the Master Apiarist database. This is only available in Creative. There's no recipe for it. You have to be in Creative or hack it in. If you're an admin or whatever. And this one is, you see how it's basically the same thing as an apiarist database. It's just kind of bloated. That means it's full of information. And this has got everything under the sun, right? And so that's when you can sit there and you can go, okay, let's look at a corroded, right? We know a corroded makes a copper comb. Here's all the climates and biomes it takes. Here's how you make the thing resilient and diligent, makes it corroded, and here's the future stuff, right? So, if you want to just get there, if you want to just find the bee you want, then this is what you use. This is what I use to try to find stuff like, how do I get an emerald bee? Because it takes 10 different mutations to get to it. And some of them are really, really hard to figure out. That being said, what happens? Like, let's say I've got this resilient here and I've got this diligent, and I've already got my uranium ore in there. I'm gonna plop that in. I've got some, these are also cheaty. These are Nova frames, which are only available in Creative. They'll make this happen like instantaneously. So let's say if I put in this resilient and the diligent, it will go through and bloom. Unless I need flowers, not sure. Make it happen. Do your thing. Who does number 2 work for? Oh, there we go. So yes, there we got our corroded princess and drone, right? So you sit there and you go, okay, I've done this. I've got my very next bee. What do I do next? Because as you can see in these things, if I go to corroded, right? And I see, oh, well, there's further mutations. There's a corroded and a tarnished gives me a resolute. Or I can make a brazen bee. So that would be resolute is bronze, and I think brazen is brass, right? But you go, I just have these bees. Like, I don't want to use up my corroded princess, which I just got, to try to get some stuff, because I also want copper from the corroded princess, right? Or from the corroded bees. So here's where we start using these advanced machines. The very first one you're going to want to use is the Isolator. Now, I'm going to go over these machines first, and then I'll show you the process I do to keep all your bees and keep your mutations going, right? Keep down the mutation path. The very first one, though, is an Isolator. And you just right-click right there, and you put these empty serum vials. What that does is you put your bee in, it will start pulling traits out of that bee and dumping them into vials. And the way you make a vial is just some glass panes, a couple gold ingots, and a royal jelly, and that'll make 2, right? So I'm going to take these wintry drones because remember, they've got high fertility. So that'll be something I'll test out. And I'll go, okay, I'm going to put these, let me put half of them in. And so you'll see the little things going. This takes Minecraft Jewels, MJs. I just happen to have one of these little redstone energy conduit things up there. Hello. And as it's going, it's a slow process and it uses a ton of MJs, but it'll go through. There's the freezing effect, which is an effect on the bee, right? So if I go through here and I say, actually, let me look at the one I go wintry, right? It's got a freezing effect, so we've pulled that out of it. And we go through another freezing effect. Now, one thing to note, you do not want to take, if you did a mutation and you got this drone in, don't stick your only drone in there. You want to make sure that you always have one princess and one drone available. And we'll talk about what to do about that. Wintry species, so see, that's a good one. And then as we'll go through, we'll probably get stuff and we'll eventually get the high fertility. Now, if you run into a whole bunch of these things that you don't want to have laying around, you're like, I don't need normal, default biome or whatever. You can just throw these guys into a furnace, any type of furnace whatsoever, and it will basically bake out and purify the vial. So it goes back into an empty vial, right? So we're going through. We'll give it one more shot. No, okay, takes a while. The next set of them is these 3, and I put them all as a group because they work together as a group. So let's say we've got this wintry species, right, and we're very interested in it. These 3 machines, they do run off of Minecraft Jewels, but they also, these 2 down here on the bottom, require DNA, liquid DNA, or I call it BNA, in order to run. And so what you do is this top one is the gene pool, and we're just going to put in some drones, and you'll see it'll go through. It's doing this little breakdown, and it's actually melting down the bee into its liquid DNA. And you'll see right here, there'll be a little bit, bloop, and then I've just got it sucked down with some waterproof pipes going into the machines. Here's how you make this guy. It's with glass, some tanks, gold, and a redstone, and a genetic machine, which I'll go back and talk about, and that'll make this gene pool. Synthesizer, once you have enough DNA, you can put your serum bottle into the thing. And you see it does this little bit. It takes a lot of DNA and a heck of a lot of Minecraft Jewels, but it will slowly fill up this serum because right now it's empty. You see where it says wintry species serum empty. It will fill it up to a max of 16 charges. And that's very important. It's kind of like the number of uses, right? The number of units of that serum. So it'll go up, boom, now it has 1 charge. And it'll go through like that. The purifier, well, actually, let's talk about the purifier. The purifier, you can then take, so normally you would fill this up all the way. The purifier, you would take this guy, and you would put it in, and it would use DNA, and it would also use a heck of a lot of Minecraft jewels, and it would increase the quality. So it goes from everything from like awful quality to average to good, and then finally up to excellent. You always want to purify your serums up to excellent, because if you don't, when you inoculate a bee, which we'll talk about just next, if you inoculate a bee, it will make it unpure. Sometimes it will make it where I believe where the princess will die eventually. I've heard that happen. But it also might give it funky effects. Like I've seen one give me a zombie and a creeper effect, which is not what I intended whatsoever. So you see it's going up to good, and we're out of MJs, but it'll eventually go up to excellent. Now, and the way you make this one, gas tiers, some tanks, redstone, advanced genetic machine. I don't remember if I showed the synthesizer, soul sand, glass, tanks, redstone, advanced genetic machine. Here's how you make those guys really quick. You've got the apiary machine, and these don't actually do anything on their own. Like you can right click, they don't do anything. They're just used to make these advanced machines. Apiary machine, copper, sturdy casing, some redstone. Genetic machine takes the apiary machine, iron, lapis, basic circuit, which you make in a carpenter. Advanced genetic machine, enhanced circuit board, which you make in a carpenter, gold and diamond. Very basic stuff. So then finally you're going to have, here we've got this one that says right now it's good quality. Let's pretend it's excellent for the moment. You're going to take it and you are going to use this inoculator. And what you do there is you can take basically any bee you want, you stick it in there, you put in your serum, and it will slowly go. You'll see it start to go any day. Oh wait, can't inoculate the current bee. Don't you inoculate me. Can you inoculate this one? Whoop. There we go. Oh, because it's already wintry. There we go. So you will see this doesn't take any DNA, even though it looks like it would. It does, however, take Minecraft Jewels, Michael Jackson's, and it's slowly shoving this trait into the bee. It may take multiple charges in order for that to work, because sometimes it doesn't work at all, and sometimes it only works on the primary side of the bee, and sometimes it works on like the active side, and sometimes it works on the inactive side, the dominant and recessive sides. So that is the basics of these machines. Now let me tell you how I use them, because this is really the meat and potatoes. This is the important part. Step 1, breed your bees, right? So we've got these bees and we want to do something with it. Hey, give me that back, by the way. So you've got some bees and you go, okay, great. I've got these copper bees. Now I want to do something with it. The second step is you analyze them. And so you would run it through a bee analyzer, handheld, or the one that we've got, the bee analyzer, until you know what the traits are. If the bees, so for example, if the bees need a fertility boost, so this one has 2 children, that's okay. Sometimes a lot of bees will only have 1. See here, maximum fertility, right? So in case I need to give it a fertility boost, like a great example would be these corroded bees. They only give 1 child. So I could breed them till the cows come home and they would not give me any extra children. So I'm going to inoculate those bees with a fertility serum. And so that just means put them in here. This one's empty and it's average. I would, juice it up before I did it. And I would throw in my princess and I'd let her run, right? Once you do that, you would stick these bees in just an apiary, maybe with some chocolate frames, so you get a bunch of drones. And then you would isolate the traits that you want from those drones. So you would take, in here in the isolator, you would throw your bees in there, right? And pull it out until you get the traits that you want. Usually you definitely want the species trait. And the species trait you would want so you can further mutate with other bees, right? Sometimes you may want the effect of the bee. So freezing is kind of cool. It'll turn water to ice around it. I've used it to make gas. I've used it for lightning storms. I've used it for healing. I've used it for XP. There's all sorts of different effects that are available for the bees. And then sometimes you may want one that has extra fertility, like we did. Some that have a larger radius around it. A larger, what do they call that thing? Larger territory. You may want to pull out ones that are nocturnal. Or can, it says darkness now. That's very strange. Or that can, be in the rain. It's very cool, very cool. So you're going to isolate those traits that you want. Then you're going to synthesize the serum and purify the serum. So that's putting it in there. You're going to basically fill the serum vial up, and then you're going to make it excellent quality. Excellent. And then step 7, you're going to inoculate rocky bees. The reason I say that rocky bees are the ones you should inoculate, let's check them out really quick. Where you is, Rockies? First off, they're super easy to get. If you have a quarry, you can get literally hundreds of these bees, right? And by nature, you can see they are by nature nocturnal. They can be covered, so a cave dweller essentially, and they can go rain or shine. So these are 24/7 bees. Very, very nice bees. The other thing that's great about them is they can work in basically any temperature and humidity. So any biome works just great for these guys. So that is why I use those for my production bees. So I will then take my serum that I wanted, like I said, usually the species serum. I'll inoculate the bees, and then I'll have brand new bees ready to go. Then finally, my last step is I will store the serums and put the pure bees in a safe place. So, for example, if I said, okay, this is my princess that I just got and my drone that I just got. Those are pure. I know they're pure. And then here's the species and the effect serums. I would take those and make it day. I would take those and put them in a safe spot somewhere and never, ever, ever touch them again. And then you got it. So, and then after that, you can just start the whole process over and over and over again. So now that we have corroded, see, we have our original corroded bees. Oh, let me use this guy over here. Hello, corroded. So we have our original corroded bees and the serums locked away. And now we have put the corroded trait onto a rocky bee. Hello? I'm trying to... Thank you. That was weird. And I have put the corroded trait onto a rocky bee, making it a corroded bee. I can then take that new bee and start my breeding process all over. Mix it with a tarnish that I would get through whatever, and get my resolute, and I would run through this entire cycle once again. It's complicated. Once you get the hang of it and you get the flow, it is super easy. You just go, got my bee, throw them in an apiary, get some drones, isolate the heck out of it, purify the stuff, throw it on a rocky bee, get. And Bob's your uncle. That's all I got for this episode. Next episode, we're probably approaching the end, believe it or not. Next episode, I might talk about some automation of some alvearies. But other than that, we may be good. If you have any requests, anything that you'd like to see about bees, with the exception of how do you get X bee, because you could just look at it yourself here in this guy. If you have any questions and you want me to go over something in detail, let me know in the comments below. But that's all I got time for today. Until next time, take care, brush your hair. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.